It's interesting the accidental rituals of this time, which I have like developed a habit of playing with my necklaces and I love it. And I find that like I now every time I start this video, I mess with my necklaces, which isn't like unique to this because it's like anytime I have any conversation with anybody, I do this. And I probably shouldn't, but it is kind of like a security blanket that I like. Um, yeah, in my last video, I said I was going to talk about my necklaces a bit more. So I guess it makes sense that I'm reflecting on them. Um, I'm going to, like, yeah, I think that jewelry reflects um, sensitive parts of ourselves. And um, for me, necklaces, I think a lot about like what I'm saying, and yeah, like what I'm saying. It makes me feel more aware of kind of like what I'm saying, and also go there. Also, it's it's a sensitive part of your body and whatnot. Like the amulet idea, I've definitely thought of a lot throughout my life, and specifically lately. Um, so yeah, that's a funny ritual that's started from here is playing with my necklaces. I haven't lit my candle yet, so I'm gonna do that. And if this dog starts barking, I'm gonna be really annoyed. I had to stop myself as I was like preparing to come do this and turn on this camera and stuff. I swear, if he starts barking, I'm gonna lose it. Um, yeah, I had a moment where I was realizing that I think like the discipline that I need to use for myself is to not come in with this like pre idea of what I'm going to talk about and where it's going to go. And it's totally fine for me to, you know, start thinking about what it is that I want to talk about here. But it's really easy to kind of like start creating the talk track. And I don't want to do that because that's not the point of why I made this space for myself. So I'm going to really try to not have like a talk track that I follow and more just see what happens. I mentioned in this video, in this space yesterday, that I was recording or working on music yesterday. So I was working on recording. And I just love recording music so much. I think that I just love studio environments. I just get emotional in this series all the time, and I'm finding myself getting emotional too. But yeah, I just love studio environments so much, and it just like there's just something about being in a studio space that I just feel like I think what we all need is places where we feel the thought that comes to my mind is like that we feel like we can be bossy, but really that's because that's an extension of our confidence. And so the places where you feel most confident are the places that you need to put yourself in. And I just am my most confident self in a studio environment. There's just something about being in any type of studio, even if I'm not very good at the thing, I just feel comfortable and confident in a studio. And I think specifically, like, studios are really fun when you're working with other people in them. And there's like something special about having studios spaces where you're there by yourself and working alone. But yeah, I just find being in a studio environment to be like one of the most special experiences. And I think that is really where the feeling of frustration with myself kind of comes forward, is because I went from spending a lot of time in studio spaces to basically none. And I think I've just been kind of trying to hobble together a studio, like as much studio experiences as possible without it's hard to have that when you're not in a program that provides it, or when you're not part of, yeah, when you're not like formally a working artist. So I will say though that um, becoming comfortable in a recording studio is new for me, but it feels like that's where I've been meant to be for a really long time. Um, and I just love it. It's like we really should put ourselves in environments as much as possible where we feel like we can like have fun like we're kids. And I can't I can't imagine anyone not feeling like that's just the most fun place to be. And yeah, it does feel like embracing the joy of childhood into adulthood. And I think from a like it's such a profound experience of flow because um yeah, you have to kind of allow the process to unfold. And I also notice within myself that because it's actually a gift that it's newer to me because I'm discovering more about the process, and the voice that I have now at my age is very different than the voice I would have had when I was younger, and the message that I want to communicate through this form is very different. And so rather than thinking of it from a regret position, I think just being kind of grateful and excited for whatever I can make now is the most exciting thing. The thing is that I do not have the money to I think it really takes a lot of time and energy to put something fully together to share with the world, and then to be continuing to put it out. And the money and also the time. And I guess like the time is money, but specifically, yeah, both of those things. And also I feel like I can't do it by myself, and I know that, and I could do it by myself and it would be very different and I wouldn't like it as much. And yeah, so I'm just trying to I'm trying to figure out kind of how I can make it happen. I was talking with a friend about developing some sort of residency space, or having some ability to do a residency, which is so necessary because you really need like an extended period of time to devote, where you're like doing it, where you're in that space for an extended period of time with others who are willing to like support the creation of that thing. And hell, how do we get that? I mean, I think that's why it's an industry. That's why it's an industry that has either has mm, yeah, you can get support or not. Maybe I should make a GoFundMe or something like that of I want to make an album and I need support to be able to do that. I have this idea that people would think that because I have been working a job, that I would be able to just like fund it completely myself. That's like pretty impossible to do. Um, there's so much that goes into it, and I think also the time for just the time to get into a mode of being able to do it. And now that I'm in the space, it's really really hard to pull myself back to back out of it. It is like I always talk about songs being worlds and albums being worlds, and I think if you're someone who's creating the thing, you have to be willing to enter into that world and live in that world for a little bit. And it's just hard. And it's just hard to kind of remove yourself from that. And friends of mine who I know, who I think are fully committing to their albums and fully committing to their acts and fully committing to what they're doing, like that is their whole life and their whole world and their whole, would you please not do that? That's the whole thing they're doing. I've been telling myself that not being fully committed is to one project and one path in that way is justified, and there's something to that, but I also think that it's kind of a cop out, and it's kind of an avoidance technique to not stay in the mode of it. But I'm just really excited about the work that we did yesterday and the world that I was kind of starting to create there. And I just really want to be able to drop everything and be able to work on that. I think I would need the time and support of people I collaborate with to be able to do that, because I just know myself and I just can't do it completely by myself. I don't think anybody can. And that's a lot to ask of people, especially if you can't like really pay them. It's like kind of, I guess that's why you have to try to get grants and residencies, or maybe take out credit card loans and stuff. It's like, instead of buying a house, maybe buy that or something. I don't know. But I am excited. And so, yeah.